Merhaba, everyone. Let's try again. Merhaba. One more time. I heard Turkey is a very nice country. You have a lot of energy. All right, let's try one more time. Merhaba. Come on. It's okay. You know, we get there. We get there. All right. I'm here to work. I'm here to talk to you about future of work. Future of work is a very interesting subject because the whole idea of how salaries and employment started was way back in about 100 or let's say about 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, when the Romans actually started paying their soldiers in salt instead of money. Salt was very valuable, and that's where the name salarium, salary, comes from. Beginning of obviously everyone was farmers in the beginning. These are the early photos that we can find about farming. The whole idea of work was that you give your time, and in return for your time, you get a certain amount of compensation, if it's food, housing, or money. And working conditions, you know, back in the days were quite horrible. Here you can see a cotton farm, cotton factory that, you know, during the 1800s, cotton was the king. Everything was made out of cotton. So slavery, entire logistics, infrastructures, everything in the world was just dependent on cotton, spices. Obviously, the imperial countries like Spain, Portugal, and United Kingdom was ruling this market. Things started getting a little bit better with the Industrial Revolution. However, the working conditions were quite bad. This is a photo I actually like to show a lot because it shows underneath a factory that is making cotton. And you can see the working conditions were really, really bad. There were no sanitation. There was no preparation for anything. Diseases were going around. So there was no infrastructure or no set of rules. You just come work as many hours as you can, 12, 14, 15, 18 hours, and then you leave and you get a little bit of money. In 1910, work started going from cotton to glass. So we had a lot of glass, we had a lot of industrial metals and so on. And as you can see, there was no limit on age. So, you know, it doesn't matter how old you were. If you can walk, you can work. So that's how you had a lot of children there working, and, you know, there was no laws. A lot of countries. I don't think Turkey had either. No, United Kingdom, not many developed countries either. So children never had actually an opportunity to be children. They're always working, they're working for the families were large, 10, 12 people. My great-grandfather had about 12 children, so I'm sure yours as well. So all of those children were actually employees. They were not children, to make money for your family. This is a really hilarious photo, and it's actually it's a mine where the donkey was a transportation device, and the children there were wearing candles, and then those candles, obviously it's fire, and the fire underneath the mine, boom, explosions, a lot of people died. So it's okay, you can make more children, doesn't matter, there's no regulation. That was the whole idea back in the days. One of my favorite photos that I found, this is actually this is a group of people from Mexico. They are not bandidos, they are not criminals, they are actually shoe salesmen. So they're selling their shoes to you, and this is a hilarious photo because you can see, obviously, the weapons, they look really menacing. But there were no regulations whatsoever. Safety didn't matter at all. People didn't think about anything, like just work, 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 get things done, high as possible, quick as possible, cheap as possible, magnificent as possible. Then in 1940s, we had the war. Obviously, World War I, World War II were devastating, but working conditions were still kind of the same. Animals, children, women, whatever you can do, as soon as you can do, in whatever capacity you were doing it, just get it done, get the production line. Women were working in making bombs, making weapons, all kinds of things. This is a really amazing photo. It's kind of rare, but you can see Australian ladies here making very devastating weapons of mass destruction for units in the Pacific Ocean battles. They're grenades, they're side bombs, horrible weapons, but, you know, someone had to do them. Again, nice pistols. So in 1960s, working became a little bit better, a little bit more organized. We had open spaces, we had computers. Little by little, women started incorporating into the work life. So companies became bigger, especially in the United States and other Western nations. So the production became constant and flow became much more productive. The hours became more set from about 15 and 16 hours a day. It became to about 12 hours a day, 11 hours a day, with very minimum breaks, no lunch at all. 1970s, we came towards more production values. So we actually started appreciating people much more, and then people actually produced much more as well. As soon as appreciation of human capacity went up, so did the production. This is a really awesome photo. This is actually 1972 Iran air hostesses. That's Iranian air hostesses. And if I show you those of today, you won't recognize this country. So a lot of things are also going backwards in some countries, some societies as well. Luckily, Turkey is not one of them. Some people didn't work at all. They just like to play guitar and do other things. But still, element of, let's see if we can get this video going. Can we get this video playing? Yes, I love this video. So what's really interesting about that video, obviously from 1980s that we started having computers at home, things became a little bit easier, but obviously from now, when we look back, things are obviously way more complicated then than now. But look how much is changed in, I don't know, in 2 decades, 3 decades. Everything that we used to have around us, in offices, in factories, everything, it's in those 2 devices. And things are just becoming, it's like the little bit of the snapshot that we have towards the future. We can see right now what's happening. So working is changing. It's changing constantly. Unfortunately, it's not optimized really well, but working life is changing constantly. And if you're not part of the change, you're going to be a dinosaur. Eventually, as a person, as a company, you eventually become a dinosaur and you fade away or you produce less. That's a really awesome company that I always like to talk about. Slack is one of the most fastest growing companies in the world, and all they do is actually work process management. They help companies to become faster, better, more productive in the communication to each other. So this company is one of the most, if not fastest company to raise, to be valued at $1 billion. It's unbelievable company, constantly growing. Why? Because it's helping companies and individuals to become better at work, more efficient. Now, working from offices, working from factories is turning into this. If you have a mobile phone, you can do roaming, you can do theatering, you can sit on the beach like I do quite often in Spain where I live. You work from the office, you're more creative. You can work 2 or 3 hours straight and then you get stuff done. You don't need to be in office for 9 hours. So we were, I love this quote. NASA has a huge problem that I like to talk about, and that's where Freelancer comes in. So I run Freelancer in Europe, and Freelancer.com is the world's largest crowdsourcing and the freelancing platform. And recently we started working with NASA, and NASA has a huge problem. One of them is brain power. Another one is costs. If you want to build a spaceship with NASA or for NASA, it's going to cost millions of dollars an hour to get it done. So how does NASA become more efficient? They contacted us, and they needed a piece for their robot that you can see on the right bottom corner. This is a piece that they needed for their robot called Robonaut 2 that can grab the spaceship with his hands. It's a robot, it's an awesome robot. So this little robot had a problem because it broke down. It became sick. So instead of actually building this robot's pieces in-house, which will cost them millions of dollars, NASA decided to contact us and then to outsource that by launching a competition on our platform where people were entering from different parts of the world their own designs for NASA. We're not talking about a corporation based in your backyard. We're talking about NASA, the company that takes people to space. So NASA got really excited. They loved this design. They awarded it to a Spanish guy in north of Spain. And then they said, okay, let's launch more competitions. So the one you see on the top is an actual torch. It's a flashlight for the robot. And the one on the left is a reward that they want to give to the staff. It's an amazing reward. It actually spins around. And one of my favorite competitions that we ever had was with NASA as well. This is a space watch. So it's an astronaut's space watch. Like, let me reiterate that. This is a watch for astronauts made on our platform from all around the world, people contributing and creating a watch and an interface for NASA. Now, this is an awesome project. It's pretty complicated, but the guy who won it is an Argentinian guy living in Canada right now. He made $1,500 out of it. And now those watches will be used in wrists of astronauts. How cool is that to get your actual work on space? So right now, Freelancer has 17 million users. Like Arda was saying, Turkey is growing constantly. And we're in 240 territories around the world. When I say territories, I mean territories like France has little islands in Pacific Ocean, etc. We have even 30 users in Vatican City. And 9 in Wallis and Futuna. So if there is any French people, you know where this little island is in the middle of Pacific Ocean. There are literally about 1,000 people living in there. 9 of them use our platform constantly, which I really like. I'm sorry about not being optimized, the screen, but this is $1.5 million, and this number is pretty significant. You can earn a lot of money in our platform. The top earner in our platform made $1.5 million working from home. $1.5 million working from home. One more time, $1.5 million working from home. Who here makes that much money working from home? No one. That's how much money you can actually make from freelancing, from working abroad, from working in distance, and that's actually the future of work. The future of all of us is that we're going to become much more reactive to what we do. On a daily basis, we focus, we get things done, and 8 hours and 9 hours days are over. They're starting to die little by little. And future will be awesome because today, about 30 years ago, a man called Marty McFly, in a movie called Back to the Future, came to this day to see what's going on. And his predictions for the future was pretty awesome. A lot of them didn't come true. But I had some projects that I wanted to show you. But all I want to say today is, be like Marty McFly. Try your future. Have a look what's going to happen in the future. Test the boundaries. Work distances. And sign up for our platform and check out what you can actually do in there. Because if you're a designer, you're an architect, you're a data entry person, anything that you can think of, 850 different things you can get done on our platform. And you can make money like $1.5 million this guy has made in 2 years or 3 years. The top earner in Turkey has made about $92,000 last year. $92,000 in Turkey. Even in United Kingdom, that's a lot of money. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to enable people. We're trying to enable companies to spend less money in-house, more money outside, and hire people interiorly. So that's what our platform can do. And one of my favorite movies, you know, I just want to wrap up with that because I'm obviously out of time. But this is one of the projects that we're working on our platform as well. I launched a contest just yesterday to see if our community can come up with a new car, a new poster. So you can check that out on our website, freelancer.com. You can check all the contests that we're doing for Back to the Future, Star Wars, driverless car with Apple, and NASA projects as well. That's all I have. Thanks very much. Tashakkur.